one of the most profound things I have found in my experience is to live in the question. To not always be so quick to answer the question. Because when you live in the question and you move forward from that place, you open yourself up to infinite possibility. So don't always be quick to answer the question. Live in the mystery. That's one thing I wanted to make sure got handled and spoken here this morning. You are a very, very unique center. You are a center that is vibrant and exciting. And I will share with you I was asked a question by the board this week. They said, well, what did you think of our center when you first came in? And I'll tell you, I honestly walked in and I said, well, my first response was, well, this is quaint. And I said, but by the end of last week's service, what I got to is this is a mega center that is bursting at the seams. There's an energy, a palpable energy in this center and by the members of this congregation that is so ready to explode and go into the world in such a more profound, deeper way. I can feel it. And it is exciting. And regardless of who you have as your senior minister, your spiritual director, that is what I see for you. Ernest Holmes writes, we do not take what we wish, but we do attract to ourselves that which is like our thought. We do not take what we wish, but we attract to ourselves that which is like our thought. We must become more. We must become more if we wish to draw a greater good into our lives. We must become more. Today I'm talking all about reality. Reality with the lowercase r, and reality with the capital R. The more that Ernest Holmes is talking about is lifting ourselves up into that more, closer to the divine reality. But I'm really going to mess with your minds a little bit today, because the divine reality is our lowercase r reality. If we believe that God is all there is, and God is all there is, there can be no separation between what we're experiencing in the relative world. There can be no difference between that and reality with a capital R. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. Thomas Troward, do you know who Thomas Troward was? Or, yes, was. I guess he's still infinite. His spirit is infinitely existing somewhere, but he's not on this plane of action anymore. For those of you who don't know, he was a late 19th century judge in India. And when he retired from the bench, he devoted his life to the study of mental science. In the process, one of the things that he did is he gave a series of lectures in Edinburgh, and those transcripts have been written down, and is one of the things that we study in becoming practitioners and ministers, the Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science. He was one of the largest influences on Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes, in The Science of Mind, quotes Troward. He says, Troward says that we enter the absolute which is God, which is the allness, which is that energy that is pervading and infused in everything you do. We enter the absolute in such degree as we withdraw from the relative being our human lives. And that we withdraw from the relative in such degree as we enter the absolute. So there's a very interesting thing that happens here, because Ernest Holmes changed his mind about this. This is in the Science of Mind textbook. The Science of Mind, that big book that I had last week that's, about 800 pages, and you only need to really know the first 60. The relative world, as I've said before, is the divine world. Meister Eckhart writes, "Between God and me there is no between." And I take that and I accept that as my truth. I have a vision for my ministry. My ministry is about eliminating the gap. There is the divine that we experience, there's the human that we experience, and there's this space in the middle that I call the gap. My entire ministry is focused on eliminating the gap, bringing into experience the human and the divine at all times, so that every decision you make is from the highest place. Every reaction you have is from the place of God. Everything that you do is divine. And Ernest Holmes got to this. Late in his life, in the seminar lectures, he wrote, "The relative is the absolute at the level of the relative." He figured that out. He figured it out. And so he actually goes against what he wrote in the Science of Mind textbook. And this actually does not get covered in a lot of classes, because we take that textbook as gospel. We take it as, this is the word, and this is what we base our entire lives on because it's so important. This is what Ernest Holmes says. Ernest Holmes, the mystic, said this is what it is. But if we do that, then we're doing exactly the same thing that many other philosophies and religions do by saying, this book over here is the word. And what that does is it narrows us off. It closes us down. It shuts us down to experiencing the infinite nature of God and knowing something more and experiencing something more. And so I encourage you to stay, as Ernest Holmes says, open at the top. Always, always allowing a new idea, a new question. Sit with the question. Let it be the motivating force of your experience. I did this last week. I want to do it again. Repeat this after me. There is one life.
There is one life.
That life is God's life.
That life is God's life.
That life is my life now.
That life is my life now.
I'm going to do it one more time. There is one life.
There is one life.
That life is God's life.
That life is God's life.
That life is my life now.
That life is my life now.
Okay. Now we're going to do it one more time. What I want you to do, close your eyes. And honestly consider the words you are saying. There is one life.
There is one life.
That life is God's life.
That life is God's life.
That life is my life now.
That life is my life now.
How does that feel?
Good.
Brings you more in alignment with the divine. It brings you more in alignment with that which is. I wrote here, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. That's not my job. What I'm here is to encourage you to know your thoughts, to know your beliefs, and if necessary, to change your own mind. That's what a good minister does, I believe. I'm not here to tell you what to think. My job is to teach you how to think from that perfect, creative, abundant place. How that manifests and demonstrates in your life is entirely up to you. So be content in your question. Be content in your question. And may I just mention, you're only a drop in the sea. Drop. Divine reality operates perfectly. Divine reality operates perfectly. That's the truth. I invite that to be the truth of your life. I invite that to be the truth of my life. And so it is.